that time! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the decade is almost over. And you know what? I need to end this decade off in the best way possible. I gotta end it off with a banger. Okay, guys, today's SBU, we will be talking about our best and worst gaming experiences. And we'll go from talking about our favorite childhood games to the worst design games ever made. We will talk about them all and much more. Now let's go ahead and get started. What?
What are you doing?
I'm working on a very important video right now. I need to get this done by the end of 2019, okay? Now get out, because I have to work on this very important and sexy project. Get out! Get out! Get out!
What day do you think it is?
Sometime in 2019, I don't know.
We are way into 2020. Have you been living under a rock?
Oh my god. I need to call the team.
Can I be part of the video again?
No. Yes, thank you guys so much for being here. Go, yes, keep clapping. I say clap! Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here to present the award ceremony, to find out what is the best and the worst game of the decade. The light's supposed to be on, by the way. Welcome, guys, to the award ceremony. I don't know what to call it. The best and the worst games of the decade. Guys, welcome to the Spoon Awards. I know y'all are excited to find out what the worst and the best games of the decade are. To find out what we all think, and at the end, you guys will vote what the best and the worst game is by the end. But for now, me and the boys will not only come up and give our cases for what we think is the best and worst game of the decade, but we will also come up with random side categories just for fun. Now let's go ahead and get started. Let's go move on to the awards. Okay, so for this award, it'll be for the best gay movie soundtrack. Speed Me Up from the Sonic movie. Carry On for the Detective Pikachu movie. Ancient 47 by some random Russian rapper. Need for Speed by Fambroski. And I'm So Sick, T-Virus remix for the Resident Evil movie. Yes, guys. And the winner for the best gay movie soundtrack of the decade goes to Speed Me Up by Sonic! Well, I mean, from the Sonic movie! Before we discuss the best game of the decade, I first want to get some honorable mentions out of the way. So, let me go ahead and go through the honorable mentions real quick. Pikmin 3, for it being such a relaxing yet stressful game, included tons of micromanaging and it included tons of multitasking, micromanaging, and Pikmin 3 was just such a crazy and interesting experience, something I would never probably see ever again, unfortunately. Saints Row 2. I know this is kind of like a GTA clone, but it was the first game of that. It was the first sandbox, realistic kind of GTA game I've ever played, and I have tons of amazing memories of when I first discovered my first cheat or when I beat the game. It was just such a fun experience that, once again, I would never have ever again, because I never really got into the GTA series in the first place, so yeah. Super Mario Odyssey. Now, this is kind of a hint what the best game of the decade is, but or what my best game of the decade is, but just know that the Mario games have always been a huge part of my childhood, and Odyssey was basically a whole culmination of that. All the games I've played back then, all mixed into this one amazing, delicious cake that was just incredibly fun, had so much to do, and is one of the first games I've ever completed 100%. XCOM 2 is a tactical strategy shooter kind of looter. It's a little complicated. Isn't the usual kind of game. Definitely would have been at the top if it wasn't for the many bugs and glitches. Because honestly, the amount of hours I have on this game is probably more than I'm willing to even say if I knew what the hours were, which I definitely don't want to know. But XCOM 2 is so amazing. Like, my god. I don't even know how to explain it. I need to make a video on that game. Star Wars Fallen Order. Yes, I know how recent this game is, but I never knew that I would ever play a good Star Wars game in my lifetime, but I finally did. And oh boy, was an amazing experience for sure. Alien Isolation. One of my favorite horror games ever. Don't at me. It's definitely A tier when it comes to horror games. I've never been this terrified in my life, honestly. It was such an amazing experience. It did go on for too long, for sure. I'll definitely give people that. But just everything about it, including the AI, the story, the music, just the atmosphere, level design, everything about that game was just... It was just an amazing experience. It did go on for too long though. Like, that game could have been cut in half, honestly. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, boy do I have a lot to say about the Smash series in general. Just know that the Smash series is incredibly important in my life, and if I did not mention it in this video, then I would feel terrible inside. Now, my last honorable mention will be going to Sonic Mania. Okay, do I really have to say anything about Sonic Mania? I mean, I use its soundtrack in about the majority of my videos right now, at least, in this era. So... I mean, it's Sonic Mania. That's all I have to say. Let's start off by going all the way back to the beginning of the decade, to my Wii days where I'd mostly play Mario Kart Wii Online. There were a ton of games that this youngling would play, but the one that I would declare the best of the decade is Super Mario Galaxy 2. Now my opinions have changed quite a bit since I last played it to when I recently booted it up just for this video, but even with my evolving taste in media, this game is one, if not the only game to have improved over time. You see, I'm a very cynical person who always sees the past as something that's never aged well for the most part. So many mediums I've endured over my childhood have gotten worse with time, although I may just be over-exaggerating this all in my head. Definitely a topic for another day, but playing this game has brought an insane amount of nostalgia to my experiences playing it and the game itself. This game is amazing and deserves its own video, so I'll just briefly give a review and an anecdote explaining why this game is at the top of my list. So, from playing this game again after all these years, this game has aged so gracefully. It's as if it's better than I remember, probably because of the nostalgia, but I honestly do feel like it's becoming better over time, with me being able to appreciate nuances here and there. The soundtrack is beautiful with this orchestral-based instrumental. It makes playing the game so much more epic by really bringing out the atmosphere. The story is more complex than the usual Mario game, kind of, in a way, a little bit. I mean, the ending was at least different, and it felt pretty mature for a Mario game. I mean, the end of the universe, I mean, that's just kind of mature. I mean, sure it was about saving the princess, but by the end, a little more than a damsel in distress is at stake. The gameplay was something I was very worried about since the controllers are notoriously unconventional. I mean, just look at this and tell somebody that this is okay as a controller. The controllers, or specifically my controllers, did not age well whatsoever. Playing this masterpiece was filled with this showing up a ton when I moved the remote just an inch away from my body. This only would have been a little inconvenient if it weren't for the spin function, which is something you will be doing all the time. This doesn't affect the fact that this game is still the best of the decade, although this will affect my thoughts later on when I make a video on this game. The level design is still as revolutionary as when I originally played it, and it was such a fun experience doing it all over again. I have so much more to talk about, but as I said before, I'll be making a separate video on it. But the main reason why I have such a big bias on this game, because it was the only game that me and my father would play together. Funny enough, he was the reason why I got into gaming in the first place, yet he doesn't play much, if any at all. Super Mario Galaxy 2 had the co-op option, which would include a little star that would help you out. The second player would be that star, and even though it doesn't seem cool like at all, because it really isn't, it was very easy for my father to grasp as we would play a lot together. We finally finished the game and never played a game together ever since. So maybe this is my pick for the best game of the decade because it's just a memory I refuse to let go of. I mean, it's still an amazing game either way. Oh, Sonic! It's about time we finally meet. I mean, I've been using your soundtrack since the beginning of my return to YouTube, and I've played tons of your games during my childhood, but I have a lot more to say about those games in the upcoming video. But right now, it's Sonic Boom time. So, this is the most infamous Sonic game, right behind 06. Everything about this game is just plain wrong. Where do I even start? Do I start with the abrupt cutscene that opens the whole game, or the basic fighting game mechanics? If I really wanted to, I could make a whole video on this game, but why would I ever want to do that? So a little bit of anecdote. Me and my brother played this monstrosity and couldn't take it anymore once we got to the part where the game legit became broken. We legitimately could not finish this awful experience because of how broken this game was. You would just be running into glitches and frame drops as if nobody tested this game at all. I remember watching the Game Grumps break this game with a glitch that would progress you through the game. I wish I discovered this, but honestly, I don't even want to see the ending either way. The story is awful and so confusing with this time travel. What's up with games and trying to use time travel? Also, what is this snake thing and how is it standing like this? Who are any of these people and why do the protagonists look like this? Why are these areas designed specifically for us as if they wanted us to get to them? Why are we able to stand on water like we are a furry Jesus? I mean, I could just keep on talking about how the line delivery is so awkward because of this awful script and how the level design is so boring and repetitive. I can mention how the soundtrack just repeats itself, which wouldn't have been an issue if the one song they would play over and over again wasn't so bad, wasn't so plain. I could also mention how bad the platforming is, but you know what? I'm just gonna let my brother take over, because I quit.
So, about Sonic Boom, you know, the game is terrible. So why the heck is Knuckles on steroids? Why does everyone sound so stupid? Why do they sound like they're dying in a fire? You know, it's stupid. I know. This is what Knuckles used to look like. Now he just looks like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. There's so many things I need to tell you right now. But there's so much things to process. I used to like every other Sonic games, they're IE, but this one is terrible. Like, they're on some Scooby-Doo like, hey, I think this unlocks this, you know? It's terrible. You know? I don't know what to say, man. It's terrible. Cut the camera! Cut the camera!
Thank you. So, I am here to present to you all of the best waifu, and the nominees are. Hey, you. Quiet down.
Sorry, I got that corona.
The nominees are Jill Stingray from Valhalla, Bayonetta from Bayonetta, duh. Riona from the Center of Progress series, S from Blaze Blue, first name right there. Yeah, you get it too, right? And the last nominee is Toru from Dragon Maid, quality anime. And the winner is, quiet down, you're pushing it. The winner is S from Blaze Blue.
Now it's time for Don to present what he thinks is the best and worst game of the year.
So now we talk about my worst game of the decade. Mario Party Island Tour. So ever since Mario Party 9 came out, the series has been on a decline. And Mario Party Island Tour is definitely the lowest point in the entire series. It's just, the gameplay is so uninspired, and the boards are just linear. Just go in a straight line. There's not that many boards to begin with. And the only objective is to just get to the end. And the game doesn't take too much skill, it's just all luck. So if you're unlucky, which is gonna be all the time, then the game's not gonna be very fun for you. While the mini games weren't bad, they were still pretty forgettable, and most of the mini games involved the gyroscope on the 3DS. So you're gonna look like a tool playing this game out in public on, like, I don't know, public transportation, just moving your 3DS around. You're gonna look foolish playing this game out in public. For my dishonorable mention, Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Tenkaichi is probably the worst Dragon Ball game I've ever had the displeasure of playing. The gameplay is way too oversimplified, and the fights in that game are way too hard for the simplified controls. And the simplified controls aren't even that good either, so just play the new games like Dragon Ball FighterZ or Xenoverse. Just play those. So, for my favorite game of the decade, I'd probably have to go with Fire Emblem Awakening on the 3DS. Because of Smash Brothers and the popularity of Marth and Roy, I decided to give this game series a try. And that first game that I tried was Fire Emblem Awakening. And between that and Animal Crossing New Leaf, that was one of the few games I actually played. If I wasn't playing Animal Crossing, I was playing Fire Emblem. And there was no in between. So it's just, the gameplay was very addicting to me, and during school and after school I'd just be playing it every day, just seeing where the story will go, and, like, especially with the support system, just seeing how the characters will interact with each other and getting each character married to each other. The game was very fun, and there was just no other game like it, honestly. But the thing I like the most about this game is just the dynamic between Chrom and Robin, which are the two main characters of this game, and just how amazing and how emotional their friendship is throughout the story. You can tell they both really care for each other, and when you're playing as female Robin, you can even get the two married. But that ending definitely had, like, an emotional feeling for me. Very good story, and that's why this is my favorite game of the decade. An honorable mention for me for another game of the decade is Bayonetta for the Xbox, PS3, and the Switch. Well, you can mostly only get it for Switch now, but anyway. That game just has a lot of content. It's a really fun action game to play, and it's just, the game doesn't really take itself too seriously, and that's what makes it amazing and fun. And I've been playing this game since early 2010, and I still play it to this day. I still haven't done everything in the game there is to do. So that just shows you how much there actually is to this game. It's fantastic. Give it a try, please.
Now it's getting fired out introduced. Anyway, how you guys doing? Yeah, I actually don't care about tonight. Go home because I got stuff to do after this, so let's just get this over with. Best DS games. You don't know what a DS is? Go home. Anyway, the contestants for the best DS game of the decade.
Scribble.
Yo, who wrote this? Yo, this man can't. Oh my god.
It was you.
Scribble knots. Oh, okay. Pokemon. Black. White. Jake. That's a Game Boy game. Yo, who made this list, man?
Bowser's Inside Story and Mario 64.
And the winner is Mario 64. Now it's time for him to present the best and worst game. Wait, what was this thing again? Okay, now it's time for Justin to present the best and worst game of the decade. So, for my honorable mention, I'm gonna go with Garfield Kart. I just feel like it's a pretty good game, but not a great game. But it's not really, it's not bad either. It's kind of in that gray area. So it's good enough to get an honorable mention, in my opinion, just because it's a meme. A plus to it, you're not going to lose your friendship over the blue shell hitting you when you're in first place. That's Mario Kart, so play Garfield Kart, man, you know what I'm saying? And my dishonorable mention, I'm going to have to go with Connect Adventures. Game is absolutely trash, let's just be honest. I know a whole lot of people play PlayStation, so they don't have to suffer through that. There's two reasons why Connect Adventures was garbage. One, the sensor did not work. So you're either moving to the side or jumping or ducking or whatever you're doing, and your little avatar's just sitting there like, and you just lose. Or the fact that the FBI is watching you through your Kinect. Well, again, why would... I'm not a PlayStation boy, but you could have just sold your Kinect and got a PlayStation. The worst game of the decade, by far, if you disagree with me, you have to die, is Sonic 06. Worst game I think I've ever played in my entire life. Not only does the game have multiple glitches and the storyline is atrocious, it's sad overall because Sonic had so much potential as a series and a game, and it basically was just ruined by multiple things. Sega kept making consoles over and over every other year, so people stopped buying them, and then basically Sonic is the only thing that brings Sega relevancy, thus the new Sonic movie coming out February 14th. Go watch it. I mean, give the homie some love, It's sad. I remember at one point, Sonic 06, the game, so if you play as Silver, and you have someone be Sonic on multiplayer, you have Sonic jump up above Silver. Silver will freeze him in the air and throw him. As you fly, I forgot what the level is the beach one, but as Sonic hits the water, if you jam the A button, every time he touches the water, he will trampoline off the water. And if you do it enough, you'll end up in just like this black screen where it's just all black around you, and there's like a small square of the beach level, and you're just stuck unless you somehow jump back through that. You shouldn't be able to break any game like that unless that is the purpose of the game. The game is horrible. Let's not even talk about the fact that Sonic starts making out with the princess at, like, why? Also, Silver's trash, so like that also brings the game down just a tad. The only reason that game isn't like just a bomb, I mean, the homie Shadow's in it, so like, it's a pretty decent game, No, it's not. It's really trash, but I like Shadow, so that's it. For the best game of the decade, in my opinion, you gotta go NCAA 14. I'm high-key upset because, it's 2020 and NCAA 14, yeah, kind of been 6 years without a game. All because the players wanted to get paid, rightfully so. I mean, they're using the likeness and their names, and they're using basically these athletes, and they're not paying them. So the NCAA is really cheap and kind of corrupt. So obviously they have this court
battle, and they decided they're not going to make the game anymore. So some people still have NCAA 14, and people will update the rosters. Some people make rosters. So it kind of kept it alive. That's just my favorite game overall. Me and my brother go back and forth, but eventually, you're just gonna beat me, like 123-6. If you want smoke, just hit me up. But that game, the animations for tackling, fumbling, they fixed the interception problem where players would jump 12 feet in the air. The game had the high school. You go through high school up into college, and then you have a whole career. You could be a coach. Like, there's a lot of just ins and outs of the game that really broaden the perspective. If you just want to be a coach or a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator, you can do whatever you want in that game. It's my favorite game. I used to play it all the time. Then one of the discs got scratched, and I was really upset. But we had an extra one, so I still got the game. But obviously, it's been 6 years since they made one, and there's been rumors that it's coming back, but so far nothing. So hopefully they revive my childhood.
Best hero versus villain.
Carry on
Fox
his legacy.
versus
I brought
Wolf.
his team out of retirement.
Crash versus... What the fuck does that say?
Cortex.
Cortex. Mario versus Ganondorf. Sonic versus Sonic Fox. YouTube versus everything. What the fuck kind of crack are you on?
I'm on a lot.
And the winner is... What? Where is it?
You should probably put your glasses back on.
Mario versus Ganondorf.
Now Haley's presenting the best and worst game of the decade.
So, for an honorable mention that I enjoyed. Honorable mention Webkins. Let me tell you, that was my shit. I used to buy the plushies. I used to dick around. I used to dick around with them. No homo. But Webkins was a good looking game. Stop. Okay, so what was it? Fucking Pets Resort or some shit? Yeah, that was stupid. It was so fucking repetitive. Like, it has like hamsters and like a Labrador and shit on the fucking cover, but then they were like in the actual game, it's just like, oh, take care of my fucking gerbil, pet him, and if he squeaks, that's bad. And I'm like, oh, okay. Fucking, yeah, that shit was repetitive. And there was like an open area, which wasn't even a fucking open area. It was just a fucking fountain. And you had to ride a horse to get there, and they're like, you couldn't even fucking take care of the horse. Like, you were just chilling, and then the horse was like, "Nay, bitch, let's go." Last of Us made me cry so hard. Cause like, at first it's like, you think that it's gonna be a zombie thing about father and his daughter. No, they fucking kill off the daughter, and then like fucking 4 years later, they're like, who's this sassy lost child? And like, I guess that takes place as his daughter, but like, it's still a good story.
but that isn't always the case.
my opinion, I have the best or worst, I guess, just depending on how you look at it, lyrics for this portion of the video. So I know that the title's probably like corny lyrics or corny rappers or someone, but all the ones that I